everybody, Talk here, and today I am doing a response video to Shad's video about armor in tabletop RPGs. Now, to preface this, I agree with 95% of what he has in the video. Pretty much all of it is spot on. D&D's armor system is strange, to be honest. Savage Worlds does it better, where there's a to-hit roll, and then you have to overcome someone's toughness, and that's how you inflict damage on people, and armor adds to toughness, not to your to-hit roll. It's nice and simple. I love how Savage Worlds does it. D&D has it all baked into one thing. So, I'm just going to address my two issues here. One is entirely subjective, because it's entirely opinion-based, and I'll do that one right now. My first issue is with what he thinks leather armor would look like if they made it. Now, there's certainly a place for hard plates of leather. Okay, I agree that with what he says, it's not going to look like. It's not going to look like the fantasy crap we have, like from Skyrim. I happen to own a suit of leather armor that kind of looks like that. It's definitely nice and it's reasonably comfortable, but protective it is not. But he thinks it'd be made out of large, solid sheets of hardened leather. I disagree with this for two reasons. And it's pretty straightforward. The first reason is, historically speaking, it's not the leather armor we saw. Any leather armor we did see was lamellar armor or scale. And I'm pretty sure the reason that ties into the second reason. You can't really repair a large, solid sheet of leather like that. Now, you're probably going, but Hawk, we don't have to do it with metal. It's just true, but also metal's far less likely to get damaged by getting the crap kicked out of it. Let's say leather armor can take an axe like that. And it probably can. I mean, Skull has this great video where he beats the ever-loving crap out of this Vegetan leather, and it just will not give. He shoots it with a crossbow, and it takes a crossbow bolt, until he uses a hunting bolt, and it just rips the sucker right apart. But it takes more damage than metal does, because metal will obviously take damage, but it takes way more, and you're going to have to replace it. Well, if you have a large sheet like that, where it's like, the whole chest piece, or it's in two pieces, well, I have to replace the whole thing now. Because you can't really just sew that up, or whatever. I mean, it'll take a fair amount, but honestly, the more it gets damaged, the more damage it's going to take. So, I think it'd be lamellar or scale for the simple fact that it's easy to fix it. Oh, I have a busted one. Okay, well, I'll just rethread the sucker. It's tedious and annoying, but hey, it's way easier than replacing the whole thing. Also, it's what was done historically. Because if you go look in Asia, or East Asia, which is where you saw leather armor, and I believe to an extent in Eastern Europe, I disagree with him entirely on how prevalent leather armor is. It's not common, but I honestly feel it was probably more common when we go back farther, just because, hey, leather's a little easier to work with out in the middle of nowhere. Again, this is entirely opinion-based, so take it for what it's worth. But it's also neither here nor there, but in the case of, in a fantasy world, it'd probably be lamellar or scale for the same reason it was in our world. Because if you're making it, you would like to be able to fix it, and fixing it is easier when it's a bunch of small plates. Now, that's the opinion side. And again, we're more or less both right, because there's pros and cons to both of them. I don't want to say this, Shad, but you're wrong on the DR. Not on armor should be DR. I love that plan. Great plan. Excellent plan. You're wrong on your number choice. And that's not my opinion. That is straight up math in the game. Now, your starting number for a Gambeson being DR5 is, or 10. It should be 5. 5 is a workable number. 10 is way too much. Because 10 would require me to use a great axe. I know this isn't a great axe, but this type of weapon, a large two-handed axe, to get through it. Now, if he's doing variable types of weaponry, or various types of DR, this changes things, but it's like, okay, so if it's all just, a spear only does a D8 in D&D. Okay? Here's a spear, does D8. Now, I'm wielding it in two hands, so it does strength and a half. The problem is, if we're going off of an average person's going to have from a 10 to a 12 strength. 12 is on the high end for an average human, but a standard array in D&D is 10s and 11s. I usually throw 112 in there because someone's probably going to have a stat that stands out a little more. But 12 is really going to be on the high end here for a baseline human. Meaning, the max damage they can inflict with a spear on a non-critical is a whopping 9 damage. So, while I get what he was saying, it's like, okay, let's go bludgeoning, because piercing would get through the Gambeson's DR. That's fine, so it's bludgeoning, slashing DR. Or it'd be DR piercing. It'd be DR 10 piercing is what it would be. The issue here is that they're immune to maces, axes, swords. Like, they're straight up immune, okay? You're not going to take damage unless someone has a very high strength statistic. And we're talking, you need at minimum a 16. That's really high, considering the human maximum is 18 before you start leveling up and whatnot. That's a problem. Now we go to chainmail. Well, chainmail was, I believe, 15 he went with. 15 or 20. That's exceedingly high. Considering the highest DR in D&D pre-epic, I'm fairly certain, is 20 or 25. That's as high as it goes. Doesn't go any higher than that. It did in 3.0, but they ditched it because they thought it was dumb and the numbers just started getting silly. Now, if you would like some context here, a orc utilizing a falchion. I don't know why orcs have falchions, but we'll give orcs a great axe. It makes a little more sense. So an orc with a great axe. A standard orc in the monster manual has a strength of 17. This means he has a +3 strength score. Now, giving him a great axe, his minimum damage is 4. His maximum damage, his minimum damage is 5. I forgot to add strength and a half. His maximum damage is 16. This means that a full-grown orc warrior wielding a two-handed axe, much like this, is going to, at best, on a non-critical hit, do 1 damage to a guy in chainmail who has a DR 15. That's what that means. That axe, right there, is going to have problems doing damage to someone in chainmail. I don't think this is terribly realistic. And I don't think that's what Shad meant to have happen, but that is what is happening. This is the problem here. Now, once you start getting... Now, the issue with DR, armor is DR, is that the current rule, because there's a rule that exists for this, is in Unearthed Arcana. What you do is you take half the armor's... take the armor's armor rating, so scale mail is 4. I'm just using scale mail since it's an easy number. You take half of it, and that's DR. So it's DR 2. It's DR 2 dash, by the way. It will always decrease the damage you take by 2. That's crap, just so you're aware. That, statistically speaking, that is horrible. It's a joke. It does basically nothing. All that does is just make hits suck slightly less because you're always going to be taking damage. Now, I think that's too low. Personally, what I would do is take class defense bonus, which is also in our Unearthed Arcana, and that's based off of your base attack bonus. You get an increasing bonus to your AC, sort of like a monk, if you're familiar with the monk bonus. And then you would just turn the armor's AC rating into DR and then add 2. So full plate, which gets +8, would actually give you DR 10 dash. That's actually really good, because on top of this, I would stack that, which would be very special. This would be very special because DR does not stack ever. They're just multiple layers of defense. If you have multiple DRs, you just pick the better one that applies. The DR from armor would stack with any other DR you have. So let's say you are a mineral warrior. Mineral warriors have DR 8 adamantine, which is really good, by the way. Actually, DR 8 is actually an appreciable number of DR that will actually be relevant for a while, not forever, but hey, you'll basically be taking 8 damage off of everything that hits you. That's not magic. So, again, take it for what it's worth. But a mineral warrior in full plate would have DR 18 against anything that's not adamantine. That is a lot, actually. That is a crap ton. Not going to make you immune to damage, but it's going to make you rather durable at the higher levels of play, which is very nice. Also, it's stacked with adamantine, so if you have adamantine full plate, that would be DR 13 just from the full plate. And if you're a mineral warrior, that's DR 21. Good for you. You're very durable. It's very nice. The reason for this is very simple, because if you have DR 30, it gets pretty difficult for martial characters to be dealing damage to that. Now, granted, you're immune to low-level stuff, which is what full plate should be, but we've already gone over the fact that if you have DR 10 dash, you're already going to be immune to pretty much everything. Okay? A spear ain't going to touch you, an axe is only going to touch you on one of the best possible hits it can get. And I think that's fairly appropriate. A large two-handed weapon smashing into you really hard from a very strong person should be able to, tenderize you inside of your very comfortable tin can. Now, what does this mean for the Gambeson? I agree with him on the Gambeson that, frankly, D&D has a bunch of armors that suck. Okay, all of the light armors are useful. So padded has a use. It's for extremely high dex characters. Same with leather. Studded leather is your more standard one. And chain shirts are for people who basically have 18 dex and will never go higher than that. Those people do exist, by the way. So all of those are good armors. Medium has one good armor. It's the breastplate. It is the mechanically best suit of armor in that category. Done. Full stop. No argument. Heavy has one good one, and it's full plate. And that's it. The other ones are garbage. Like, you don't wear them. Ever. I have found them on corpses, and I wanted to wear heavy armor, and I refused to wear them because they're bad. They're terrible. Because all but one of them restricts your dex bonus to a 0, and the other one's just crap, and their armor check penalties are god-awful, so you don't wear them. But yes, you can't... Going back to my original point, because I'm rambling again, you can't go to stupid high DRs, because then things can't hurt you. I understand that was kind of the point, but a hill giant? Here, let's go with an ogre. I believe an ogre has a 21. An ogre has problems smashing a person wearing that because they're using, let's say, a great club, which is what they use. That goes to 2d8. That is maximum damage of 16. That means on a max damage roll without a crit, with their 21 strength, I believe it's 21 strength, they do 21 damage. An ogre would not be able to damage somebody in full plate. And that just doesn't sound right to me. It just sounds weird. And frankly, I'm fine with armor being less useful the higher levels you get when you get to these stupidly hyper-magical things. I mean, let's be honest, DR10 Dash, off of the system I recommended, is still useful. It gives you the more or less accurate personification of historical arms and armor. Basic point, you can't have DR that high. You just cannot have DR that high, because then you are literally immune to a whole laundry list of things. Like, you'd be as durable as a dragon at that point, which is silly. So if you put it down to like DR10, or basically, like I said, DR, whatever its armor rating would be, plus 2, gets you a fairly appreciable number. DR10 dash is nothing to sneeze at. And then it'll just allow it to stack with pre-existing DRs, which would actually give Adamantine a reason to exist, because frankly, Adamantine is terrible because it only gives DR3 on heavy armor, and that is a joke, and we all know it. So Adamantine full plate's actually not bad, but DR13. Those are just my thoughts, though. Agree with them, don't agree with them. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments below. Tell me if I'm right. I love being right. Please tell me I'm right. Everybody, have a wonderful day. Peace out.